to make these Martha Washington balls, you're going to need butter, coconut, powdered sugar, which we have, some delicious Eagle brand condensed milk, and chocolate chips, coconut, and chopped pecans. Okay, I may have said coconut twice, I'm not sure. But anyway, you're going to start out with your butter. Okay, you're going to add your pecans. I'm doing a half recipe because I'm going to do 2 things with my Eagle brand milk today since it's Valentine's Day. All right, we're going to put in a ½ cup of chopped pecans into our melted 1/2 stick of butter. All right. Now what we're going to do is we're going to take our powdered sugar and our coconut okay, you're going to use a ½ bag of your coconut. There's 14 ounces in here. So I'm just going to eyeball it and put it in there. I just kind of pinched it in half and then poured it in. All right. And now we're going to use ½ of a can of our sweetened condensed milk because, like I said, we're going to make something else with the rest of our coconut. So we're going to put in about ½ the can. All right, we're just going to have to eyeball it. We can do that. Yummy. Let's see how that looks. A little bit more. Let's see. All right. We're going to go ahead and mix this up. Yummy. Don't that look delicious? Ooh. Ooh, I remember my mother making Martha Washington balls every Christmas. I just love them. I don't know if y'all liked them as much as I did. But what you're going to do now is put in your powdered sugar. And after we get it all mixed in here, then you roll them into balls. Now, you're supposed to use a pound of powdered sugar. Now, this powdered sugar, I guess it's okay. I'm going to put in half of it and mix it and then put in the other half. I'm probably going to have to get me a harder spoon to do a really good job because this is going to be really thick. So you're going to have to use a metal spoon. Now, I guess you could use your mixer, but now this is really thick. It would bog down a mixer pretty good. So I would be careful putting this in a mixer. And it takes a little bit of elbow grease, okay? Martha Washington balls are wonderful. That Eagle brand milk and pecans. Woo, it's delicious. Gonna be good, y'all. All right, so it's already really thick. I'm gonna put in some more powdered sugar. And just keep on mixing. So you're just gonna continue to put this powdered sugar in. It's a whole pound. Now, if you're doing the full recipe, you'd be putting in 2 pounds. But you just double everything that I've done. It's a lot of powdered sugar. It's a pound of powdered sugar. I'm gonna reach in here and use my hands. Just make sure you got some clean hands. Because I'm gonna tell you, it would take me forever to get this mixed up with a spoon. It is Valentine's Day 2022, and I am making these for my Valentine. I'm gonna see if I can't get this out on the counter to mix it easier, okay? Y'all, it's hard to mix. I can tell you that right now. Hard to mix. Tammy's just gonna use her elbow grease. Now I am I've been sick, and that's why I sound hoarse. But I was determined to make my sweetheart something delicious for Valentine's Day. So here we are. See, it's so much easier to get it out on the counter and really work it to get that powdered sugar in there good. And it really is too thick, I think, for a mixer. But now you could put it in a mixer if you want to. I got my mixer out and was going to use it, but wound up not using it. Now then, it's starting to come together good, ain't it, y'all? Good candy. Homemade candy for Valentine's Day. Why not? Good old-fashioned Martha Washington balls. Okay, that's all there is to it. Now that we've got it all mixed up, we're going to roll it into balls and dip them. Look at there. That big Martha Washington ball before it's dipped. Now you're just going to take it and roll it into balls. And you want them to be little. About that size. So they're about 1 inch in diameter. Okay? That's about a tablespoon. We'll use it. And that way they'll all be identical. So you're just going to roll them up. I'm just using this as a measuring. So you could use a tablespoon as well. And we're going to roll them all up, put them in the freezer, get them nice and chilled while we melt some chocolate to dip them in. They're going to be delicious, y'all. Just delicious. How many of you remember your mother or grandmother or daddy, whoever it was, aunt, making these and always having them on the table for a snack at Christmas? Tell me if you remember Martha Washington balls. And how long has it been since you made a Martha Washington ball? Too long, I bet. Today we're going to have fun. We're going to get all these rolled up and in the freezer, and we'll be right back and we'll melt some chocolate and get these ready for when Chris comes home from fishing. See you in a few minutes. All right, we've got almost 5 dozen. Not far from having completely 5 dozen. I think I got 4 dozen plus 8. Okay, so take a look. All the balls are about the same size. They look really pretty and they rolled up real easy. So if you use something to measure them, and you don't have to have a cookie scoop, you could just use a regular measuring scoop and do a tablespoon if you want to, but just try to make them all the same size. Okay, I have decided that I am going to freeze these, and if you freeze them, you've got to go ahead and put your toothpicks in them before you freeze them. Otherwise, they'll be too hard to get a toothpick in, and you'll make a mess when you're trying to get them dipped. So go ahead and put your toothpicks in them before you put them in the freezer if you're going to freeze them like I'm going to do. It's Tammy, and we're going to finish up these Martha Washington balls. Today is it Wednesday, Chris, or Thursday?
Wednesday.
It's Wednesday. Y'all, I'm mixed up because I've been out of the weather, or whatever you call it, for a while. And I just got flowers delivered right on time before I started taping. And they're from Bob. And I want to say thank you to Bob. You are absolutely sweet, and they're beautiful. And you know I love lilies. And Rhonda had sent me flowers when I first got COVID, and I just want to thank her for her flowers as well while I'm at it. We're going to get these Martha Washington balls done now. And so the first thing, I want to dip mine in milk chocolate, and I had a bright idea. I've got some English toffee, and so I'm going to roll a few of them in this toffee once I dip them, and I think that will be really good. So what we're going to do is we're going to take milk chocolate. Now you can use semi-sweet chocolate or dark chocolate, whatever you want to use on yours, but I prefer milk chocolate, and I think Chris does too. It says on the bag to melt these, just to melt them on half power, and to mix it. So we're going to take about a cup of these chocolate chips. Let me put in a little bit more. And we're going to put the microwave on half power. I'm using a small measuring cup because I do want to dip them right into the measuring cup, and I want it to be deep, the chocolate to be deep, so it's easy to mix. So we're going to place this in the microwave, and we're going to put our microwave power level down half to 5 instead of 10. And I am going to put this on a minute. And don't overcook your chocolate. If you do, it'll burn, okay? So be real careful. Use the half mark, and it'll take a few minutes, but we're gonna get this melted. And I just thought that the Martha Washington balls, some of them would be really good with these to give it a little bit of a crunch on the outside. Don't you think that's a good idea? These things are delicious. I wanna make a cake with these. I have a recipe. I think it's gonna be really good. Okay, they've been in there a minute. And I'm just going to see if I can get down into the bottom. They're starting to melt some. So we're going to turn them back on. Me and Chris are doing great. And I appreciate all of you who've had to wait on me to respond to your emails and cookbook things. And I'm very sorry, but you know, it's just taking some time to get over and get our strength back, or my strength back. Chris always had his strength. He's a man, you know, he's a strong man. Aren't you, Chris?
Yep.
He's a strong man, and he went out and bought a bunch of plants this morning. He's gonna start our garden soon. Now it's starting to really melt. And once it really starts to melt, it doesn't hurt to just continue to stir it because it's already warm. So really use your little spatula and stir it a lot. Get those extra chips melted in there. But you want it really hot, or it's not going to be thin enough on your candy, okay? Let's see if I think that's thin enough. And you may have to continue to heat it up. Now some people, if you make a lot of something, you could put your chocolate in one of those little crock pots, and it keeps them warm. Now we're just gonna dip these. And you really need to dip it and get all of it in there. See, to me, this is just too thick. I'm gonna thin it up a little bit with something. Toffee bits. Lay it right here to dry. Okay, so since I've got about a cup of chocolate, I'm going to put at least a teaspoon of shortening in it. Now, back in the day, people would use paraffin wax to do this with, but now my mama always used shortening. And we're going to put this back in the microwave and get it hot, mix that up, and hopefully it'll be thin enough that it's easier to dip them. All right, you can see that shortening and how it's melting, and it's going to really thin this up and make it a lot better to dip our Martha Washington balls in. So now we've got a thinner chocolate, which should work a lot better. So you're just going to dip your ball in there, and you are going to shake it off. That's the good thing about these being frozen. It's not going to hurt to beat them a little bit. I'm going to put these in the toffee. Now, of course, I'm going to make a few without the toffee as well. But don't that look good? It looks like a cake pop. And just get the excess off. That's all there is to it. Boy, isn't that an easy, delicious candy to make for Christmas or Mother's Day, Valentine's Day, any holiday. And who says you got to have a holiday? You know, me and Chris are going to have these after Valentine's Day. And You could also freeze these. Once they dry really well, you could freeze them. Woo, I'm glad I made a half recipe, y'all. If I had not made a half recipe, I would have been rolling and dipping till the cows come home, for real. It takes forever. So whatever you do, make a half recipe, because a half recipe still makes about close to 5 dozen. Here's our 2 in the refrigerator that have set up. The chocolate has sealed. Now this is your plain Martha Washington ball. And we looked up, what is a Martha Washington ball? And my hands are hot, so it's gonna melt. And it said that they're thinking that it originated from an actual store that was a candy store called Martha Washington. And that said in the 1800s, didn't it, Chris?
1890s.
Delicious. Very sweet, of course. But now Chris is going to be a better taster because he has more taste buds than I do right now. But I can still taste it. The coconut and the condensed milk and the pecans and the chocolate. Yummy, yum. And that one's super sweet.
Let's see. It's right up my alley.
Yeah, you like super sweet stuff, don't you, Chris?
Mm-hmm. I love it. I'll eat the whole tray.
How do you like the toffee one?
That's good too. You can't make something too sweet for me.
I know, Chris loves super sweet stuff, don't you, baby?
Mm-hmm.
Now that's a treat, and Chris loves it. I can remember eating some of these sometimes, and they'd be softer in the middle, and right now they're pretty cold, so it's hard to tell, but I may actually reduce a little bit of the powdered sugar in these just to make them a little creamier on the inside, and but you got to make sure that you don't get them too creamy or they won't hold their shape good. Now, if you use a chocolate wafer instead of milk chocolate or real chocolate, it will also be a little thinner for you, I think, and make a prettier candy. So keep in mind when you're using real chocolate that it does thicken as you heat it up, if you heat it over and over. Y'all have a wonderful day, and we thank you so much for watching Collard Valley Cooks, where we cook like Mama did. And thank you, Bob, for my flowers, and Rhonda. Y'all have a blessed day. Come back and see us.